The carts will be heading out very shortly then for the senior pre-final. There on screen, you can see the grid. Piers Lehane, as Matt described there, dominating yesterday, 3 wins out of 3. He is on pole position, the Australian, and he is, of course, with Strawberry Racing. Sam Marsh is going to be starting alongside him, the British driver for Dan Holland Racing. Berke Besler from Turkey for Bouvan Power starts 3rd. John Stewart for Strawberry Racing is 4th on the grid. Rinus van Kalmthout for TKP is 5th. Harry Webb, the reigning champion, is in 6th place for CRG Spa. 7th on the grid, Tom Grice for Intrepid. 8th, Michael Cool for Bouvan Power. Good to see Michael going well here. 9th is Shane Daly, the Irish driver for Dan Holland Racing. And the highest qualifying French driver, Louis-Ferdinand Simonauer, starts 10th for Yana Racing. Max Timmermans, one, as Matt suggests, to look forward from 11th after one bad heat put him out of the top 10, but he's got the pace, we think, to mix it up there. The ex-junior of last year, Carlos Gil, a Spanish champion for Sodi Kart, 12th on the grid. Luke Wilhelms for TKP is next up. The Dutch driver starts 13th. Brett Ward, a very, very close runner-up in the Winter Cup 6 weeks ago. He's 14th on the grid. And one good heat yesterday, but a couple of disappointing heats. He could also make good progress, just like he did in Spain. He's with AIM Motorsport. Martin Mortensen, the Danish driver for Formula K, is 15th. Glenn Van Parijs, the Belgian, 16th. Luke Varley, 17th. Dennis Mavlanov, 18th. Joel de Puig and Mauricio van der Laan complete the top 20, and just outside the top 20 is the reigning junior champion in the Euro Challenge, Tommy Preining. So 34 drivers lined up. Keep your messages coming in on the social stream. Lars Lambrell says, hello Lars, by the way, we miss you. We miss your entertaining driving, so anytime you want to come back to the Euro Challenge, you're most welcome. Lars, a race winner in the Euro Challenge as a junior. Good luck to all of the Dutch drivers, the Strawberry Boys and Max Timmermans for this race. Hayden Media have sent us a message saying, great win for Jack McCarthy. Great win, Jack. Well done. Toby Alford watching, supporting Alex Quinn here this weekend, wishing him luck. From Shirley Darcy, good luck to Dean and everyone at Strawberry from everybody back home in Scotland. And well done, Vasileris, as well. Looking back to our second chance heat is another messages coming through on the social stream. But now it's time, Matt, to concentrate on our second pre-final here, and this one's going to be a slightly longer affair than was the junior race. This and DD2 will both run over a distance of 13 laps. Piers Lehane about to get proceedings underway.
He certainly is. Plenty to watch out for outside the top 20. Victor Oberg, who is in our second chance heat. Watch to see how he goes. Jai Najar, who got a disqualification yesterday. He's been quick with a top 10 finish as well. And the likes of last year's junior champion, Tommy Preining. And also up there, Ed Brand. Watch out for as the race is about to get underway. Yes, it is. Down towards turn 1 they go. And it's going to be the poleman, Piers Lehane, that leads the way. The man coming through there looks to be John Stewart in kart 265 to jump up into second place. So a fantastic start from him. There's drama in the middle of the pack. In fact, towards the front there. Harry Webb may have been one involved because the 201 car has got to try and squeeze his way through. Yeah, Harry Webb is one of, what, 5 drivers we've got in the kitty litter. 219 is another one. That's Rinus van Kalmthout, who was pretty high up the grid, the Dutch driver. Harry's just got going again. Who else have we got out there at turn number 2? We've got 221. Now that's Louis-Ferdinand Simonauer, of course, who was the best placed of the French drivers. Van Kalmthout's got going again. 235 has just got going again. Michael Cool, so they're all coming from inside that top 10, weren't they? Loads of gravel on the track as they rejoin. And finally, 207, I'm afraid. Brett Ward was the other one involved in all of that. So the top 2 now, Matt, have a huge advantage. Yeah, they certainly have. With all of that going on behind, they've broke away from the rest of the pack, and it is going to be Piers Lehane that leads lap 1 ahead of John Stewart. So both of those doing well as they head on to the second lap of the race. They're in third place then. Is going to be the kart of Berke Besler, a man who went strong yesterday. But look at this from Tom Grice, trying to make an attack down at turn 2. He makes a mistake, so diving through there is going to be Sam Marsh, a winner yesterday in the heats, get himself up into 4th place. So a good job there from Sam. But this is the action-packed race at the minute. Down off behind the top 2 is where it's all happening, with Berke Besler, with now Sam Marsh in 4th place. We've got Tom Grice dropping to 5th, and Shane Daly, after another great start, is up there in 6th place. Watch out for him. Started this race in 9th place, a potential top 5 finisher in this one, and he's worked his way, as we said yesterday, from the back right inside the top 10. John Stewart is super glued to the rear bumper of the race leader, Piers Lehane.
but he hasn't tried a move as yet. Had to think about it going down the back straight into turn 5. Had a little look down the inside, but it wasn't a proper attempt. Meanwhile, it looked like there's going to be a change for 4th place here, and there is indeed. Good move that down the inside. And that's Tom Grice, rather, isn't it? Getting the place back. So the top 2 go through. Coming up over the line now in 3rd place is CIK-FIA, still really holding his own here this weekend. Grice with that move up to 4th. Jay Najjar making good progress in 5th place. 6th place is Sam Marsh. Shane Daly 7th. Ed Brand has carved his way through to 8th place now. He's made a ton of places up here in the early stages of the race. So now that the sun has come out, things seem to be working well at that CRG. Unfortunately, though, his teammate, Harry Webb, is going to have a lot of work to do in the final, as are the likes of Michael Kool and Rinus van Kalmthout. So it'll be an interesting final later on, Matt. We're going to have a load of quick drivers at the back of the field trying to come through.
We certainly are. That's going to be one to watch out for, and so is this race at the minute. It's all kicking off towards the front, behind the top 2 once again, because as Chris has said, John Stewart is not letting Piers Lehane get away. He's right there with him as they come through. I think there's been a change.
Switched around. Yeah, he's squeezed through on that lap.
Yeah, so John Stewart now leads this race from Piers Lehane, the man who's been so dominant so far this weekend, comes through the final corner. So the top 2 on their own out front. 3rd place man indeed as well is doing okay. CIK-FIA, he's just managed to pull away now there, and he's going to try and catch these top 2. It's going to be a hard task for him as well, though. They're in 4th place is Tom Grice. Jai Najjar, another man who's done so well in this race. 22nd on the grid, up to 5th place, just like Ed Brand, has worked his way through, and Ed has just gained another position as well. Goes past Sam Marsh. He's now going to try and catch up with a guy ahead, which is going to be that of Jai Najjar. So Ed Brand's on the move. Sam Marsh, in fact, now with these warmer conditions, dry on track, starting to fall down the field. And then behind him in 8th place is Maurizio van der Laan at the minute, who's doing a steady job out there. So we'll watch out to see how they all go. Top 2 down towards the right-hander at turn 7. Still in the order by the looks of it. John Stewart ahead of Piers Lehane.
Jay Najjar doing really well from 22nd on the grid. Joel de Puch has made up quite a lot of places as well. The Dutch driver 13th, and Tommy Preining has made up about 10 spots. He's in 12th place. The top 2 making their way into the final turn on this lap. On his own in 3rd is CIK-FIA, but he's got to keep his head down here because there are quick drivers behind, the likes of Grice and Najjar. Top 2 go through. Over the line they go, separated by 0.2 of a second. But by the time they get to turn 2, it's more like 0.002 of a second. Piers Lehane, I don't think he's too interested in finishing in 2nd place, scoring less points than John Stewart. And also, if you finish 2nd, you're on the outside line, of course, for the start of the race. And it's all kicking off in this battle for 4th place now as they switch around going down through turn 4. That was a sort of side-by-side, Matt, through the first 3 turns of the lap. Yeah,
it looked like it was going to change, but in the end, I think they've all just about stayed where they were. Jai Najjar may have just, in fact, got ahead of Tom Grice there. Yeah. So Jai Najjar goes into 4th place now. Tom Grice back one, and Ed Brown was trying to get his way through as well, but just pushed wide on the exit of turn 4. So he'll try again, see if he can achieve it this time. But he's right there, which is great to see for Ed Brand. Really now starting to get to grips with the kart this weekend. So he's on the charge for those 2 ahead. On his own in 3rd is still CIK-FIA. The top 2 are away with this one as well. Still in the lead of the race, of course, is John Stewart ahead of Piers Lehane. Come through once again, separated by a very small margin, just over 1/10 of a second. Here comes the attack again from Piers Lehane down towards turn 2. Not quite going to work there again. So we'll just bide his time. Still 8 laps to go, a long way in this pre-final before anything else can happen. And the fight for 4th as well, we can just about see heading up towards the right-hander at turn 4 now. And Ed Brand, after that moment a lap ago, is now back with those 2 ahead, Tom Grice and Jai Najjar.
Plumb last is Brett Ward, but just to prove a point, he set the fastest lap of the race now. So Brett Ward trying desperately to catch up with the Pat, one of the lead drivers that came to grief on the first lap of the race. CIK-FIA, I note as well, he's just as quick as the 2 leaders. He's matching their pace, but he can't bridge the gap. He's about 2.5 seconds behind them. They got most of that advantage on the first lap, while the rest of the pack were sorting themselves out. Into the left-hander at turn 10 then come our race leaders. It's still John Stewart and Piers Lehane, separated by just a couple of tenths. CIK-FIA is 3rd, up to 4th place, as Matt described, is Jay Najjar, with Tom Grice in 5th, and Ed Brand closing the gap now in 6th place. So Ed Brand, 3rd in last year's championship, beginning to close up on those 2. Tom Grice trying desperately to find a way through into the hairpin, but he's also got to keep a mindful eye on the fact that Ed Brand is right behind him. There's always contact there. Ed Brand has finished 2nd and 3rd in the Euro Challenge. but never quite won it, although he has been a double British champion. But he's had a tremendous drive through the order here from a lowly grid position of 24th. He has a look at the inside at the end of the back straight for 5th. And now the 2 ahead of him run wide, and that's easy pickings for Ed. He goes from 6th to 4th. They both ran wide, Grice and Najjar. Najjar is the one that comes off worst. He drops to the back of that trio, loses 2 places, down to 6th place.
I think the reason they ran wide is because Tom Grice gave a slight nudge to the back of Jai Najjar, so that's the reason it all changed. Ed Brand took the opportunity straight away to dive through and get himself up into 4th place, and now he's on the move to try and catch the man ahead, which is Berke Besler, who is near enough 2 seconds down the road. We've got one off in the gravel down at turn 5. Try and work out who that is.
Jonathan Aberdeen, I think it is, 258. Jonathan Aberdeen, the South African, I think. We'll wait and work it out when they come through. Well, that was down halfway around the lap, wasn't it?
May have been Dave Bloom, actually. He's just dropped right off the top 22.
Yes, he has, yeah. You're right. Dave Bloom, I'm afraid. Dave Blom, rather, the Dutch driver. So Jonathan Aberdeen still very much out there, not particularly high up the order. So getting into the closing stages. Loads of midfield scraps going on here as well. But at the head of the field, top 2 glued together, is Piers Lehane playing a bit of a waiting game here, though. He's sitting patiently there, trying to get the opportunity, trying to see if there's a gap. But John Stewart through the chicane doesn't leave the door open. Coming into the left-hander now, 2 to go on this lap through turn 10. And Piers Lehane, he certainly hasn't been dropped, has he? He can't shake him off, the British driver in the lead of the race. John Stewart coming through once again, head down. Piers Lehane closing up on the way into turn 1. Is he going to have a look into turn 2? That's the big opportunity on this lap, but no, he can't yet do it. So no change there. Besler still on his own in 3rd. Tom Grice in 4th now. Ed Brand is next up in 5th, and Jay Najjar in 6th place, being caught by the next 2. Sam Marsh is going to be one to watch on this lap in 7th. Shane Daly 8th. Mauricio van der Loon rounding out the top 10 with Luke Varley 11th.
Yep, those 2 are right with those 3 then for 4th place at the minute. So it's going to be a 5-way scrap before too much longer. Just turning off the right-hander at turn 5. Here they come back towards us at the left-hander at turn 6. And it's a great job so far this weekend, as we've been saying, for Shane Daly to gradually work his way through the field. He started this one in 9th place after the great heats he had yesterday. So watch out to see what he can do to get ahead of either the likes of those up in front. Sam Marsh is, of course, there on track ahead of him, as well as Jai Najjar as well. So they're all fighting their way in towards the hairpin at turn 10. The lead is through for another time. On to lap number 10. They're about to go. So the countdown continues now with 4 laps remaining in this race. Pre-final for seniors. A slight look over the shoulder there for the man in 4th place, Tom Grice, just to make sure nothing's going on. Ed Brand darted to the inside there briefly at turn 2, but then he saw yellow flags down at that corner. So no move is allowed to be made under those conditions. So we have to think about his move once again. Let's see if he can get it done down the back straight. Not the best run through turn 4 there, so he has to now defend and attack at the same time, because he knows Jai Najjar is extremely quick and he'll always be looking to try and make a move.
Adrian Randadan and Mauricio van der Loon got into a bit of a tangle coming out of turn 10. Van der Loon, the Spanish driver, ran wide, and on screen, Jay Najjar running wide there. It was much just spotted, so Jay Najjar losing more positions here. That will drop him out of the top 6. So the result of that incident I was telling you about is that Tommy Preining is now up into the top 10. Mauricio van der Loon is down to 12th position. Victor Oberg, I noticed, trying to make his way through the order as well. He's up to 16th place. He came through from the second chance heat. As now Piers Lehane lines one up into turn 2. He's going for it, and he's done it. Back into the lead goes the man from Sydney. The pole position man reclaims his first position from John Stewart with a nice move down into turn 2. It's the best opportunity on the lap. John Stewart gave him the room. Good driving from both of them. They've still got this big advantage, over 3 seconds now, clear of Berke Besler in 3rd place. Grice 4th, Brand 5th, Sam Marsh back up to 6th, Shane Daly 7th, Jay Najjar dropped 2 places down to 8th, Luke Varley and Tommy Preining rounding out the top 10. Fastest lap of the race belongs to Ed Brand. So the kart, which was pretty dreadful in terms of its performance at the Winter Cup, he's now going very nicely, thank you very much. CRG have got it sorted out. We knew they would, because they're a top team, and they've got their man, Ed Brand, 20 places up the grid. He's now in the top 5.
Can he make it into third place? So that's going to be the question. He's still got the man ahead, Tom Grice, to try and work his way through, and then trying to claw his way onto the back as well of Berke Besler in third place. But that fight for the lead continues. It took Piers Lehane a good 5 laps to try and get the job done, but it was just watching John Stewart to see what lines he took through the corners, where was the best opportunity to get a job done, and now John Stewart is going to do exactly the same. Just under 2 laps to go, so he's got time to try and get back into the lead as John Stewart. We'll see what he can do as he heads off the back straight down towards the right-hander at turn 5. Nothing as of yet, but he's still, as he has been for the whole race, glued to the back of the race leader, Piers Lehane. So they turn on to the next of the left-handers, down towards turn 7. Berke Besler still on his own in 3rd. 4th place, Tom Grice. 5th place that of Ed Brand, and then 6th and 7th follow, which is Sam Marsh and still Shane Daly. And of course, with that mistake on this part of the track is Jai Najjar, who's trying to get his way back through as well. But I think that's going to be the best he finishes in this one. And the battle for the lead is not over just yet, because we've got 1 lap to go at the start for the 2 leaders. They come through, but who's going to take this pre-final senior win? It's going to be a call between these two, and John Stewart has got 1.47 kilometres of this Salisbury circuit to go to see if he can get back to the lead.
Leonard Hugenboom has just picked up a 5-second penalty from the officials. That will tumble him further down the order. But at the head of the field, making their way into the right-hander at turn 4, are our 2 race leaders here in the pre-final. If Piers Lehane wins this one, of course, he'll be the early championship leader. He'll take the maximum points from this scoring race. John Stewart had a glance down the inside on the way into the right-hander at the end of the back straight, though, through turn 5. Lehane hanging on to it, though, by half a cart length. Berke Besler 3rd. He's close for 4th as well between Tom Grice and Ed Brand. Slight gap back then to 6th place with Sam Marsh and Shane Daly fighting over that one. Half a lap to go now for the 2 leaders. Which of them will be starting the final from pole? It is Piers Lehane with his nose in front, but coming after him now is John Stewart. 2 corners to go. Into the left-hander. Piers Lehane sitting on the race line here. Winning by a narrow margin is what he did at Campios at the Winter Cup. It looks like he might be about to repeat that with the pre-final here. He does. The flag is out. He wins the race. He's on pole. He is the championship leader. Piers Lehane, the Australian. He makes it a perfect weekend so far with another victory. John Stewart 2nd. Berke Besler will be very, very happy with 3rd place and the inside line for the final later on. Ed Brand, watching the leaders, did manage to sneak through at the end of that race to get 4th place away from Tom Grice. Tom, though, won't be massively disappointed because he'll have the inside line, of course, for the final, the better line into the first 2 corners. Sam Marsh recovering to 6th place. Shane Daly 7th. Jai Najjar in 8th. Tommy Pryning making some progress in that race up to 9th place, with Luke Varley completing the top 10. And the fastest lap of the race went to Ed Brand with a 61.459 second lap, because the lap times this year are a lot quicker, 6/10 or so quicker than they were last year, because they're missing out the chicane now, just straight lining it down from turns 4 to 5. So that is how the top 10 will line up for the final. Just to run down the rest of the runners. 11th place went to Adrian Renaudin. Mauricio van der Laan came home in 12th place. Ante Johansson, the Finnish driver, was 13th. Dennis Mavlanov 14th. Luc Willems was 15th. Victor Oberg halfway up the grid there from near the back into 16th. Oliver Askew as well, who was at the front of the second chance heat, putting him near the back of the grid for this one. He made some progress up to 17th. Carlos Gil was 18th. Glenn Van Paris 19th. The penalty, the 5-second penalty, put Leonard Hugenboom back to 20th. Jake Craig was 21st. Mike Bartels 22nd. Harry Webb down in 23rd place. He made a few back up, but one of the drivers that got tangled up down at turn 2. So the reigning champion, 23rd on the grid, he'll be for the final. 24th, Petra Betzel. Nicola Pico, 25th. Another one to come through from the second chance heats. Martin Mortensen, who was 4th in the championship a couple of years ago, down in 26th. Michael Cool down in 27th after the first lap problems. Louis Ferdinand Simonau was 28th. Rinus van Kampthout and Brett Ward also got caught up out in the first lap, so they were 29th and 30th. Manuel Maldonado was the other finisher, 31st. Jordi Puig, Max Timmermans, who we didn't really mention, he got caught out early on as well. He was a non-finisher, and Dave Blom went off halfway around the race into the gravel at turn 5. They were the 3 non-finishers. So Piers Lehane, the race winner in the seniors here in the pre-final. He'll be on pole position later on this afternoon. The final for the seniors coming up at 2:50 in about 2.5 hours time here at